oh, that guy was bad, those people are victims, lock them up, justice is served. That's the surface. That's the most surface. You don't have to try to look for that perspective. Why? Because most people live in that perspective. It's the easy, obvious perspective to hold that he was evil or bad and he did bad things to good people or to innocent people. I get that. I completely understand that. I can conceptualize and intellectualize and understand that deeply and fully because I was there too. I felt that way when I left. But I had to search a deeper perspective because I'm still spiritual. I didn't just go to carbonation and it was just something that happened and that has nothing to do with me. No, I went there for a reason. I resonated with something. I'm still that person. I'm still spiritual. I'm still love nature. I'm still all about those things. It doesn't end just because I left. And so I had to seek a higher perspective. And this is when I found these teachings of Carlos Castaneda talking about the petty tyrant. And I'm going to describe it to you because if you want to understand Nature Boy, you have to understand, this is going to show you who he was, and it's going to describe him to a T. So it's called a petty tyrant. A petty tyrant is a person who causes distress by imposing his or her will on others using psychological pressure rather than physical force. The petty tyrant feels he may impose his will because he believes that he is a superior being and because he wants to operate from a position of authority. Petty tyrants are the button pushers, the individuals that have the ability to throw things off balance for you if you let them. Many petty tyrants are unaware that they are the cause of so much frustration. They are effective teachers because they force the warrior to closely monitor their own reactions and habitual behaviors. The result is mindfulness and the ability to shift the assemblage
Hey
point,
y'all, I'm just streaming
even if
this.
ever so slightly, in order
Welcome,
to loosen
welcome.
the fixation to the conditioned response that causes the reaction in the first place. Castaneda believed that by looking at the petty tyrant through a different lens, a person could not only coexist with a petty tyrant, but also benefit from the relationship. This type of relationship would be most common in the workplace. He goes on to say, the challenges for the warrior, though, are to consciously get along with his coworker without being petty yourself. It's to rise above it. So he summarized that by saying, don't take anything personally. This is the biggest gift of the petty tyrant, to be able to recognize that even though you will be annoyed to no end by the petty tyrant, one must not allow themselves to be energetically attached to the petty tyrant. So this is a framework of dealing with this kind of energy, as you see, that didn't come from me. It didn't come from anything of that situation. It's something that people have already experienced along their spiritual journey. So Carlos Castaneda is teaching about Toltec wisdom. He has spiritual teachings as well. But I just wanted to share with you guys so that you can maybe consider that there's a deeper perspective here that we're not looking at, you know? And so you have to ask yourself, anybody that was part of that, why did you go? What compelled you? What moved you out of the thousands and thousands of people who watched Carbonation and Nature Boy every single day? Why you? And so when you start to answer that question, you can kind of go down the rabbit hole of introspection. And so I asked myself, why did I go? What was I looking for? And obviously the surface level answer is like, well, this is just a guy and he was he was, what is it? He was recruiting people and he programmed you before you got there. That's the basic Babylon civilized mind trying to hyper-intellectualize the spiritual journey. See, and that's the thing, that a lot of people have these terminologies and these words and sciences, and they could bring in experts, but they're all looking at it from a surface level. They're not willing to go deeper. And if you want to learn the deepest lessons, you have to search the highest perspectives. So that ain't the highest perspective. That's a baseline, easy level. I can understand it. But the deeper lesson is this. I resonated with something that I saw. I saw myself in Nature Boy. I resonated with the teachings. Something inside of me was moved by what he was saying. And through his message, I was rattled into taking action. I couldn't focus on anything other than that which I resonated deeply with. It don't mean that I stopped resonating just because he's locked up, or just because things didn't go the way I wish they would have gone. Keep it real with myself. I'm still that person. I'm still that guy. I still believe in nature. I still believe in what was taught. I still believe in a lot of things, and I'm not going to allow the things that I didn't agree with, or the negative things that people took from that, to take away from the purity of what attracted me in the first place, and the reason why I'm still teaching, why I'm still sharing my perspective. And so don't forget that. Anybody that was there, don't forget what sparked you. Don't forget what got you to move. What got me, somebody who had never got on a plane, to get on a fucking plane and go to another country, to go on this deep journey, jumping into the abyss. Don't ever forget that, because the minute you forget that, you're going to be like all these people, just going right back into the system that you knew you didn't resonate with. And ask yourself, why are so many people interested in this? Why are so many people resonating with it? Why aren't people complacent and happy with civilization? There's something in the human spirit, in the human psyche, that knows that we are not living how we should be living, that knows that we are not fully fulfilled with the human experience. We are lacking community, we're lacking nature, we're lacking real food, we're lacking real purposeful and meaningful connections, and you can't ignore that as a society. You can't ignore that it's happening. People are going to search for it regardless of how they find it or where they find it. People are not fulfilled in this current civilization, and so we have to acknowledge that. It's not about just bringing people back and having them be okay with being complacent in the system, and deprogramming people that try to leave, as they say, because you're just programming them back to the shit that made them feel like they needed to leave in the first place. You programming them back to the depression that they felt, the mental state of being that they felt, by taking on the ideology that
This
they were
is
thrown
Rambo,
into.
y'all.
So if you keep
Ex-carbonation
going back to
member.
that, you're going to keep getting the same results. You got to do something different. You got to think differently. And that's what this whole experience was about, was thinking differently, seeking a different perspective. There's so many spiritual teachings that have taught this. This isn't okay, if it helps you, understand that this has nothing to do with carbonation nature, boy. This is a phenomenon. This is a phenomenon that happens in cycles during the human experience, that if you were a part of it, consider yourself blessed. Consider yourself lucky, because so many people don't get to experience that. So many people don't get to have the transformative experience that you were gifted in this lifetime. And so don't squander it, is all I'm saying. Don't squander it, and don't forget why you left in the first place. Don't ever lose the spark. What gave you the voice, the desire to want to talk, to want to come on camera. I wouldn't be talking how I'm talking like this had it not been for that movement, had it not been for what put that fire under me to want to get up and do something different, And I can't deny that. As much as things went a different way, as much as things started to get dark, and there was a lot of pain, a lot of emotional distress, and there was a lot of hurt, I will never forget that. I will never forget that, because that's what it's all about. Like we're doing, it's a movement. We came to do something different. We came to spark the world. And they just want you to forget that. They want you to be distracted by the bullshit. But don't ever forget that. That's why we're here. That's why we online speaking our voice. Because we know what's up. We know what's real. Don't ever let that go. Don't ever let that go. So that's what I want to share with you guys today. I know it's a lot, but for those of you that have been there from the beginning, or no matter where you tapped in, if you felt called, like, that's where the power is at. That's where the strength is at. That's where the change is at. Don't ever forget that. All right, I'm gonna let some people in if you guys want to build on that. Uja.
The live ended, y'all. All right, guys. Later.